Alright, today is a bit of a casual video where I'm going to share with you my experience in the UK and the US. I'm going to share with you the best parts about my 5 years of experience studying abroad and some lessons and mistakes that I've learned along the way. Being an international student is not just about hitting the books. Well, let's be real, there's that part as well. But it's really about immersing yourself in the new cultures. It's about making lifelong friends from across the globe. And the most significant part is discovering parts of yourself that you never knew existed. So I've divided this topic into 8 different themes and we're going to talk about each of it. Let's begin. Lesson number 1. Networking. And I have deliberately kept it as point number 1 because I cannot emphasize enough how important this one is. When you are going to study abroad, network as much as you can. This networking is not just for the time that you're there, it's also for the future. So when you're thinking, oh, I know enough people now. No. Just go ahead and network more. It's never enough. So you're like, what do you exactly mean by networking? Here it is. You have to get to know people not just in your department, not just in your lab, but beyond. Starting from your own lab, go out on lunches with your professor, with your lab mates, then expand it to the departments. Like my department used to have an after work snack party every other Wednesday. And that was so good because I got to know people not just in the lab, but also who are working in my department. And it's not just the professional connection that I made, it was also something personal. And then it's nice to just not feel alone and have people around you who are actually in the same boat. So there were lots of PhD students who were struggling, and then we used to share stories. It helps you in your journey. It's really good for the student and teacher to get to know each other, irrespective of the project that you're doing. The other networking options include lots and lots of potlucks and events that are organized by the university. The International Services Department of the university organize a lot of events as well. So attend those, you'll get to meet other international students from different nationalities. And that's something which is so mind-blowing. I attended the international events. I participated in a lot of events where I was a speaker or I was invited to talk about my culture or myself and so on. Attend those, participate in those. What comes additional to all of this is that you can get connected via LinkedIn, because when you're graduated, you can still be connected to all of those people and your classmates via LinkedIn or any other social media. I honestly think that I did not network enough. I could have done more. So it's coming from my own experience here. Theme number 2, culture. When you're going abroad to US or UK, their culture is different. Their festivities are different. First thing that you have to adopt is an open mindset. And when you are in a university, you get to meet people from different countries, which means a lot of integration of different cultures, different religions, different rituals, and they all come together and they all survive together under that roof. It's beautiful in its own way. I encountered so many different experiences. Like I used to love it. I used to go and ask about how is it done like this, how is it done like that, and I used to participate in it. For example, I have experienced Thanksgiving in the US and in the UK, and they were different. The holiday time period is different for both the countries. The hype of celebration is different. The dinner setup is different. However, both experiences were so amazing. The dinner was delicious in both the countries. And I would link my second theme with the third one, which is food. Food is life, right? You can learn about someone's culture just by experiencing their food. And I think food is and has been one of the means to connect people. So when you get to know more people from different countries, mostly people do potlucks that could be organized by your department, or you can do it by yourself. For example, I've hosted a lot of potlucks, and we used to have everyone bringing their own dishes, and then everyone would explain what that is, how new flavors were introduced every time. It was so amazing to see how taste buds were connecting people. So the lesson here is, don't be shy to try out new things. Don't be shy to experience newer culture. Don't be shy to try a new food. You can ask for what ingredients are there and if you're allergic or you don't need a certain type of food. But it is super fun to share your food stories. I will share one story from Germany though. I was in a group of 9 people and all the 9 people were from different countries. So what we did was every Saturday we used to go for lunch. And we used to choose one country from the 9 countries that we were part of. So every Saturday was a new country. That means new food. And it was such an amazing experience for us. Alright, the next theme is learning. Here I want to talk about how your target should be to have an additional skill. So when you're starting your studies versus when you're finishing them, you should have a stark difference in your skills. And that comes from learning. And that includes learning via newer methods, learning new tools, and so on. So here's my experience. In the UK, where I was doing my master's, I actually found myself knowing a lot of what was already being taught in the class. And that was because before going to the UK, I was a research assistant, so I had a bit of an experience already of doing research and publications and more on the technical side as well. However, when I went to the US, it was a totally different game. In the US, the high schoolers were coding. They knew how to code in Python, and I was nowhere near that. The best part is that the universities will keep offering a lot of resources and opportunities. So in my case, I wanted to learn Python language. My university's library was offering evening classes for Python. So after my work, I used to go there and I started taking those classes. What I'm trying to say is you have to make an additional effort in order to develop your skill set. And I think I should have done that in the UK as well. I don't think I learned any additional new skill when I was in the UK, but that was a lesson for me to not repeat this mistake. So this was an example of having free resources. Like that coding program I mentioned was free of cost and it was evening time. However, there was no credit given to me, so I didn't get a certificate. It didn't add to my credit hours in my transcript. But if you want that, you can also do so. For example, if you have already done the required credit hours from that semester and you have time and space and energy to add a little bit more, you can pick any other course from anywhere from the university. For example, I was doing engineering and I wanted one course from the business department. There's a certain limit of the required credit hour that you have to do per semester. But once you've done those, you can always add more. It's a whole different topic of how credit hour system work, but for now, for this video, you can always add additional learning component during your program. Theme number 5, which is travel. This is one of my favorite topics. I was on a 100% scholarship both the times in the UK as well as US, and it is assumed that those who are on scholarships do not have adequate amount of money. They won't be able to save anything. They will just be stuck in classes, blah, blah, blah. That's not true. I don't think that's true at all. I traveled like anything. One thing I knew from the very beginning was that I have come here to study, but I won't shut myself in the room. This is once in a lifetime opportunity, so I have to go and experience and explore the world given the time that I have. And being a student, there are lots and lots of benefits with discounts and coupons. So what you have to do is dig deep into all of these offers and find cheap tickets, find like super awesome deals, and explore different places with your friends. Make spontaneous trips, make planned trips. Traveling is the best school. One tip about traveling I would give you is you'll be given a calendar for the whole year already on day 1. Just have a look on the long weekends because there will be lots of long weekends and there will be spring break and winter break and so on. You can already start planning your trips. Like in the spring break, I would go to this country or I would go to this national park and already have them aligned. This will be very, very beneficial when you are booking your tickets and booking your Airbnb or hotel beforehand because it will be cheaper. US and UK are so beautiful and there's so much landscape, so much history. I cannot tell you how profound effect all my travels have had on me, how much my friendships have developed over these trips, how much fun it is. When you are studying abroad, it's a lot of stress. You're away from family, everything is new, you're away from the culture and you're away from the familiarity. So with traveling and by making friends, you actually get out of that space for a couple of days, and so you can never regret traveling. One good part about traveling is also that it also helps with personal growth. You learn budgeting, you learn planning, you learn time management, you learn asset management. There's so much more to just going and having fun. Then comes independence. So, being an international student, you will feel the sense of independence because you were living with your parents, you were living in a very safe space, and now you have to manage the house by yourself. And guess what? You're going to learn all the home chores so well. Some people might stay spoiled, but the majority of people I know, actually all the people I know who were with me studying abroad, they just grew with time. I saw the difference independence brought in them. So my advice here is be ready and be excited about being independent. This is incredibly rewarding. All right, theme number 7, which is mistakes. Yes, you will make lots and lots and lots and lots of mistakes. I have had my share of blunders. Let me share one of the blunders I made, which actually affected my master's thesis. So I didn't know there was a form that needs to be filled where we were to select our supervisors for master's thesis. I did not read the requirements fully. I missed out on 2 pages, and you have to submit it and write the name of the professor that you would like to work with. And because I did not do that, I was randomly assigned to a different professor who I did not know. When I got to the department and I showed my concern, the professor that I wanted to work with was already booked. And because of that, I had to change my topic. I had to reevaluate what I can do with the new professor. So the lesson is that things will be different in every country. There will be different requirements. It will be a different system. So make sure to be on top of all of these academic requirements and these administrative tasks that are eventually very important. Another lesson that I would really want you to emphasize on is not to right away select your professor or select your lab. I would advise you to do rotation. Rotation is a process where for each semester you can go and work with a different lab. Via rotation, you'll get to know newer projects where you might find your interest developing, which you didn't know was before. So the idea here is not to go ahead and select a professor on day 1. If possible, do the rotations, discuss it with your program coordinator, and they definitely help you out with these options. The last point is the blend of fun and responsibility. And this is an amazing opportunity where you strike a balance between these two. You want to have fun, which you will, and you will gain the sense of responsibility. And I think the best way to balance the fun and responsibility is to plan ahead. Have a journal, have a diary already where you plan out what responsibilities should be done at what time of the week. For example, have your time blocked for cleaning and cooking and all of that, because you need enough time for studies. So these were the 8 themes I wanted to talk about. There is definitely a blend between many of those. If you are planning to go and study abroad, I hope what I've talked about is going to help you in one way or another. So if you're planning to embark on this wonderful adventure, I wish you good luck. And if you have any comments, please write them below. Until my next video, bye!